it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to my top 10 favorite stories from San Diego Comic-Con 2016. That's right, you guys were asking me all weekend to talk about the big stories coming out of San Diego, but there were so freaking many stories that there was no way I could cover them all as they came up. So instead, I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite stories from this year's Comic-Con today. But before I begin, I should just let everyone know there are no trailers on this list. No trailers at all. Why is that? Because there were so many amazing trailers this year, I'm putting them all on a separate list. That's right, coming out later today, I have my top 10 favorite trailers that came out of this year's Comic-Con. But for now, let's get into the stories that really affected me, really touched me, really got me excited, except for one, which kind of got me a little bit depressed and a little bit sad, but it was still so big, I kind of have to talk about it. You all already know what that story is, don't you? But before we get to that, let's get into some of the positives. At number 10, Richard Rider, the original Nova, is returning. Yes, Richard Rider was the original Nova for Marvel Comics, and he developed a very loyal fan following, partly because he was one of the founding members of New Warriors, which is one of my favorite teams of all time. Marvel, please bring them back. But also because when the modern day Guardians of the Galaxy was formed, he played a huge role in that. He played a huge role in the Annihilation event, which got everybody at Marvel looking at their space characters going, wow, these guys are actually pretty cool. We should do stuff with them. And he had his own series, which people loved. They didn't buy, but they loved. So, when he eventually died fighting Thanos, people have been wondering, when is he going to eventually return? People thought he might not ever return because we got a new Nova, who also has his own fan following, Sam Alexander, and I personally really enjoyed the new Nova. I like him. But this new Nova series is going to see the original Richard Rider returning to train Sam Alexander. It's the best of both worlds. And everybody loves legacy characters. Sam Alexander, with this book, is going to finally become a legacy character because now the original Nova is going to be training him. It's going to be a book shared by both of them. It's the best possible option of what we could have gotten with a new Nova series. Next up, we all knew that Kurt Russell was going to be playing Star-Lord's dad in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but we didn't know what character he would be playing. And I have to say, when I heard that he was going to be playing Chris Pratt's dad, I thought, that's perfect casting. He shouldn't play Chris Pratt's dad in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He should play Chris Pratt's dad in everything. Oh my god, they nailed that casting. But still, we didn't know what character he was going to be. Who was going to be Star-Lord's dad in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And many people thought he was going to be playing the original Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell. Yes, for any of you who are not big comic fans, that was the original Captain Marvel's name, Mar-Vell. They weren't that original over at Marvel back in the days. But it has now been confirmed that Kurt Russell will be playing Ego the Living Planet. Okay, nobody saw that coming. Nobody in the comments better say, I called it. No, you didn't. No one called he was going to be Ego the Living Planet. This is huge for a couple reasons. One, because it's a planet and planets are very big. Oh, it's a size joke. But also because I love the fact that Marvel is like, we don't care how obscure the character is. We don't care how goofy they are. We're gonna make sure that everybody gets in our cinematic universe. And I gotta say, the idea of Kurt Russell's head, the size of a plant, not that bad. I can take that. But we did get some news that he will not be full-on planet the whole time because we did see an outfit he would be wearing. So either he was going to start off as a normal person and then turn into his planet self, or he is going to be the planet, but then when they land on the planet, he can like form into a human guide, a human avatar. I don't know what they plan on doing, but this is crazy. And the idea of James Gunn, who can direct crazy stuff, directing one of the craziest ideas in Marvel Comics, I'm totally down with that. Next up, this is the one. This is the story that I really hoped I would never have to talk about, but it's happening. And if I was just ranking these in terms of importance, it'd be higher, but man, I really don't want to talk about this. Marvel has announced that they will have a new event called Inhumans vs. XMen. And a lot of you might be wondering, why are you so sad about that? Well, it's because it's been no secret that Disney has told Marvel Comics they do not want them to promote or advertise in any way, shape, or form or place any importance on any characters that they don't own the movie rights to, with the X-Men being the biggest ones. And I've been promising you guys for a while I'm going to make a video talking entirely about this, and I am going to do it as soon as big news stops happening. Oh my god, the world of comic books will not shut up for 5 seconds so I can talk about this. But yeah, here's the thing. If you've been reading Marvel Comics recently, the Inhumans are a race of people who have a genetic code that allows them to gain powers when exposed to a gas, and that gas has been going around the entire planet, and that gas is poisonous to mutants. In fact, it even sterilizes them so there can never be any more mutants, and it kills the ones that already exist. Yeah, in other words, this is Disney's big play. I've heard so many people in my store saying, man, how is Marvel doing this again? We just had a story a couple years ago where all the mutants were wiped out. How are they gonna try and do this again? Yeah, that story that you're referring to, House of M, happened before Disney bought Marvel. That was just a storyline that Marvel did, and they had plans all along to reverse it. Disney came in and said, no more mutants, and that's a fact. That is not Marvel coming in and trying to create a story. That is the company that owns Marvel telling them, get them out of here. Kick their asses out. Get the X-Gene out of comics. And it is very clear they've been trying to replace them with the Inhumans. The Inhumans over the past couple of years have really become more like the X-Men than they were ever like the Inhumans. And when I saw this, I went, this is it. This is the moment that it's all been leading towards. I'm not saying the X-Men are going to be gone after this event. Not at all. But this is going to be a big blow to the X-Men. Marvel can't just wipe out all their X titles. However, they can do something in which they break up the X-Men and then cancel that X-Men book and just have them appear as cameos, kind of like they have done with the Fantastic Four, another property that Disney does not own. Yeah, this is it. This is the moment that we were all dreading, and it's happening. Or maybe, just maybe, after that memo got leaked from Disney that said they didn't want Marvel to promote the X-Men anymore, maybe Disney came back around and went, you know what, people found out about, now it just makes us look like the bad guys, just cancel it, just do whatever you want. And Marvel went, hold on a second, we can turn this around. Marvel is amazing at tricking its readers into thinking they're going to do something horrible up until the last second when they come out and go, ha, we weren't actually going to do that, we fooled you. So I'm really hoping, in my heart of hearts, that the past couple of years of the X-Men just getting the crap kicked out of them has all just been a big rope-a-dope, and this is the event where they're going to come in and go, nah, we solved all that, nah, the X-Men are just fine. They're going to be big deals again. It's fine. It's cool. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Next up, we got to see some concept art from Spider-Man Homecoming, and in that concept art, it did indeed reveal who the villain is going to be. And that villain, are you ready for it? Here it comes. The Vulture. Okay, yeah, I won't lie. Out of all the villains I was hoping to appear in this film, you know, like Mysterio, Moreland, Kraven the Hunter, Vulture was way down on the list. But it is cool to finally know who it's going to be, and plus, with all those other villains I mentioned, they're kind of weird concepts to have in the first Spider-Man film, so out of all the villains you could have picked, I guess the Vulture's fine. It's alright. Plus, they're still saying that it's rumored that Michael Keaton is going to be in this film as the villain, and I could see him as the Vulture. Next up, the current Black Panther book by Ta-Nehisi Coates is amazing. It's one of the best books out there, not just from Marvel, but one of the best books out there, period. If you have not checked out the current Black Panther series, it's great, and I've said that one of the things that I love about that book so much is how they set up Wakanda, the way that they portray Wakanda, the most technologically advanced nation on Earth. It is so damn cool, and they have announced that because that book is so popular, they're going to have a second Black Panther series called World of Wakanda, and it's going to be a series of short stories that focus on different characters in Wakanda. That is amazing. As I said, Wakanda is one of the coolest locations in comic books. This is going to be an entire book that just fleshes Wakanda out. And one of the first stories is going to be by critic Roxane Gay, and it's going to focus on the women of Wakanda, which is great because there are many great female characters in Wakanda, including the Dora Milaje, which is Black Panther's personal squad of elite female bodyguards. You remember in Civil War that woman who just walked up to Black Widow and went, "Move, or you will be moved." That's the Dora Milaje. You remember how cool that moment was? They're gonna get their own story, so I'm very excited about that. Next up, I'll be totally honest with you guys, DC's animated films have kind of been hit or miss with me. They've either been great, or, you know. But they announced at Comic-Con that they were going to have 3 new animated films coming out, and each of them actually sound really cool. Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, which is one of the biggest stories in the history of Teen Titans, that is finally going to come to an animated film. I'm very excited about that. We're also going to get Justice League Dark, which is going to feature many of the darker mystical characters in the DC universe, which DC has great mystical characters, so the idea of putting them all in a film, that sounds wonderful to me. Plus, for the longest time, Guillermo del Toro has been saying, "Oh, I have a Justice League Dark film plan." Maybe, sort of. Well, I think I'm gonna cancel it. Nope, I'm doing it again. After this film, that film got canceled, but I'm still gonna do this one, and it's been driving me freaking nuts. So the fact that we're finally going to get it in one shape or form, I'm fine with it. I don't care if it was as a 30-second short on Cartoon Network. As long as we finally got this thing, I would be cool with it. But it's going to be an animated film, so great. But the other one is going to be Batman and Harley Quinn, which Harley Quinn has exploded as a huge star, so awesome. I'm glad that she's going to get something that really spotlights her. But it's going to be worked on by Bruce Timm. That's all I had to hear. The guy who has created some of the best animated things from the DC universe is going to work on Batman and Harley Quinn again. I have nothing else to say about this. Next up, speaking of Black Panther, we all knew that Michael B. Jordan was going to be in the Black Panther film, and we had heard rumors that Lupita Nyong'o was going to be in the movie, but we didn't know who either of them were going to be playing. But at Comic-Con this year, we finally got to find out who the cast of Black Panther was going to be. We found out that Lupita Nyong'o is going to play Nakia, who is one of the Dora Milaje, as I just mentioned, and Michael B. Jordan was going to play Killmonger. Okay, this is big news for 3 reasons. First off, Lupita Nyong'o, everybody said if she's going to be in, she's probably going to be the love interest. Okay, mild spoiler alert for the history of Black Panther. Nakia was one of the Dora Milaje. She ended up becoming obsessed with the Black Panther. The Black Panther said, "Yeah, no, part of my deal with the Dora Milaje is I can never really connect with any of them." And she kind of went nuts and became a supervillain called Malice. I was not expecting that. So we kind of have 2 villains in this film. And Lupita Nyong'o, I would never have pictured as a villain. But I think it's going to be awesome to see her try that out, because she is a super talented actress. Secondly, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Okay, I will admit, I kind of have a mild problem with Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, because Killmonger is like 7 or 8 feet tall, and I know there aren't a lot of actors out there who match that description, but I was kind of hoping for somebody a little bit bigger. Michael B. Jordan, from what I've heard, is a little bit short. Well, not short, but you know, like average height. So I was hoping for somebody who was kind of a mountain man for this role, but honestly, I don't care if he doesn't look the way that he does in the comics, because the mere fact that we're going to get Killmonger in the Black Panther movie is all I need to know, because Killmonger is hands down my favorite Black Panther villain ever. I made a top 10 list a few months back in which I listed the top 10 villains that I wanted to see in the Black Panther film, and I put him at number 2, but I said the only reason I put him at number 2 was because number 1 has to be Claw, simply because we know it's going to be Claw. Claw has already appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's probably the biggest villain that Black Panther has, so yeah, we all know it's going to be Claw. But if I had to make my own personal choice, it would definitely have been Killmonger, and it's going to be Killmonger. This is so freaking cool. And the other reason why this is big news is because quite possibly the biggest Black Panther run that character has ever had was by Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest, he did have a Killmonger story in there, and he also gave the Black Panther 2 Dora Milaje, Nakia and Okoye, and those are the 2 Dora Milaje that we have had confirmed for this film. But he also assigned the Black Panther this little sniveling, whining sidekick from the State Department who was supposed to be the US representative who dealt with the Black Panther, and he was such a sniveling little whiny character that Christopher Priest actually said he based that character off of Chandler being on Friends, and you can totally tell that's where he came from. But that character's name was Everett Ross, and for anybody who saw Civil War, remember when that random dude just popped up and they went, "Yeah, this is Everett Ross," and then he was basically gone? Yeah, they were saving him for the Black Panther film. They were introducing the character for the Black Panther film ahead of time. We're getting the Christopher Priest run. As I said, that is hands down the best run on Black Panther That's what they're going to adapt into this movie. I am so excited. Next up at number 3, Vengeance is coming. It was confirmed that on the 4th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we were going to get Ghost Rider. But not just Ghost Rider. Robbie Reyes is Ghost Rider, the newest Ghost Rider. This is big for numerous reasons. First off, it will get people to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Alright, I have not been negative on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I haven't really been excited about that series. And one of the reasons I haven't been that excited about it is just simply because, yeah, the characters are kind of meh. I mean, if you watch it for a couple seasons in a row, then you do get an attachment to them, but I should not have to go up to people and tell them, no, just stick with it for an entire season. Yeah, there hasn't really been that much in that show to grab people. Meanwhile, if you look over at the DC television universe, every single episode of Flash, or Arrow, or Supergirl, or Legends of Tomorrow has some big name comic book character popping up. And I know you might be saying, well, the non-comic book audience, the majority of the audience, they don't know who these characters are, so why is that important? The reason why it's important is because when you have some big character pop up, and they're super dynamic, and they're dressed in some costume, and they're saying, I am this person, even general audiences can look at that and go, oh, this clearly must be important. This is clearly a thing. But also, it means that you don't just have random bland dudes standing around talking scientific gobbledygook, which is what a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been. And I know that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they've introduced the Inhumans, and the Inhumans, again, as I mentioned earlier, have just been mutant ripoffs. But again, it's just been a bunch of dudes standing around, no costumes, no nothing, and they're just standing there, bland-looking people. Yeah, you need someone to spice this universe up. You need someone to spice this television series up. You're gonna get Ghost Rider in there. Okay, he's a dude with a flaming skull. He can't be a bland dude that stands around when you have a flaming skull, alright? So, A, you instantly have something that draws people in. You instantly have something that when people look at it and go, oh, that's clearly a thing. But also, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon, that means we're going to get a huge character added to the Marvel Universe. Yes, for the longest time, Disney did not own the rights to Ghost Rider. That's why all those terrible Nicolas Cage films came out. But now they finally have him back, and they're going to put him in something. They are going to finally add Ghost Rider to their universe. You might be saying, well, why not just create a new Ghost Rider movie? The reason why is because the average person out there doesn't know all the wheelings and dealings of these studios. So if they just saw another Ghost Rider film come out, they would say, oh my god, it's another one of those stupid Nicolas Cage things. I'm not gonna watch that. So yeah, you kind of have to introduce him in your television universe first. I personally was hoping he was going to get a Netflix series, but that could spin out of this. And the other reason why I'm super excited about this is because, listen, Johnny Blaze, he had his time. I love Johnny Blaze, he's a great Ghost Rider, but he already had those movies that kind of ruined him for the cinematic universe. And also, he was a stunt driver. He was one of those guys that you see dressing up like Evel Knievel and jumping over big stuff on their motorcycle. That doesn't really happen a lot today. That was a thing back in the 70s. If you were going to set Ghost Rider in the modern era, you need an updated Ghost Rider, and yeah, Robbie Reyes is great for that. I love the Robbie Reyes all-new Ghost Rider series. I will admit that in the second story arc, the artwork was not all that great. But aside from that, it had a great story going all throughout. All the artwork, aside from those couple of issues where a lot of people ended up dropping off, was amazing and stunning. I love the design of him. I love all the characters around him. I love the relationship that he has with his brother. I cannot wait to see this character added to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And again, as I said, Punisher is getting his own Netflix series that spun out of another series. Maybe if this works, fingers crossed. Next up, speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we finally got our Captain Marvel. Brie Larson has confirmed she is going to be playing Captain Marvel, and I'll admit, not who I would have chosen. I was a little bit shocked at that choice. I think she'll be fine, but did not see that coming. But in all honesty, it does not matter who they pick for this role. They could have assigned a cactus to the role of Captain Marvel. The mere fact that we finally got Captain Marvel, that's all I needed to know. That is all I needed to put it this high on this list, simply because this was the #1 character that everybody kept asking, yeah, no, seriously, where is she? Why has she not popped up yet? Why have you not given us any news about this yet? Where the hell is all the Captain Marvel news? This and Black Panther are the two films that people are probably most excited about coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and yet Black Panther, we've got lots of information on him. We've seen all kinds of stuff about him. Captain Marvel has been total radio silence this whole time. Finally, we got Captain Marvel. And lastly, my number one story, the thing that got me most excited from San Diego Comic-Con 2016, Netflix. I know you might be saying, what the hell do you just mean Netflix? That's incredibly vague. What are you talking about? There were so many stories that came out from Comic-Con this year that related to Netflix that I couldn't possibly list them all on here. But when I look at all of them, they all add up to one thing. That I am really glad that I have a Netflix subscription. Let me tell you what I mean. First up, Marvel came out and showed us some new footage of the Luke Cage series, and it looks good. Then they showed us the trailer for the Iron Fist series, and that looks good. Then they showed us the title card for Defenders, and you hear Styx in there going, "You think you can save New York?" And that got me excited. I was like, alright, glad I have that Netflix subscription. Then we got an announcement that is indeed confirmed. Vulture is going to get a season 2 on Netflix. And for anybody who is asking, where's my Vulture review that I've been promising you guys for a long time, I'm literally recording it today right after this video. So it is happening. I am going to make this. It's going to be up soon. So just stay with me on that one. Okay, so Vulture, which is an amazing show on Netflix, and I am loving getting a season 2. So that's got me excited as well. Next up, we all know that CBS is playing a new Star Trek series. And I'll admit, not been the biggest Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek, but it's not one of those things that I really geek out over. However, when I saw that little brief trailer that they put out, I got excited. I was like, oh man, I want to watch this. But then I remembered, oh right, CBS is only going to air the first episode, then every episode after that is going to be on their online service that you have to pay for. Screw you, CBS, I'm not paying just to watch that one show. But they announced at this year's Comic-Con, 24 hours after it goes up on CBS's paid service, it will then be on Netflix. What? That's awesome! And just when I thought it was all over for Netflix, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 reboot has announced it's going to be coming to Netflix. Okay, I am a huge fan of Mystery Science 3000. I grew up on that. I still go out to see all the Riff Tracks live shows because I love that cast of characters and what they do so freaking much. I even donated more money than I would like to say to that Kickstarter to get Mystery Science Theater 3000 back. I've been looking forward to it so much, but the one question was, where's it going to arrive? Where are they going to put this out? Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix. I swear, every single time that I look at Netflix, I'm like, man, should I just cancel my subscription? I mean, I like the Marvel shows, but I can just pay when it comes back. They come out and they do something that goes, nope, need to keep this thing around forever. Yes, I know it sounds weird for me to include all these stories as one thing, but as I said, every single one of them made me go, thank God I have Netflix. Because holy cow, is there so much good stuff coming to that program. So, thank you guys very much for watching this. Make sure you tell me in the comments down below, what was your favorite story out of this year's San Diego Comic-Con? And if you want to see more geeky stuff from me, including that top 10 favorite trailers from Comic-Con, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, you can get in touch with me on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. And if you want to see some more stuff from me, there'll be videos at the end of this that you can click on. And if you like this, make sure you share it all around the web. It's the best way to help out this channel. You guys have been doing that a lot lately, and it really shows. We just passed 10,000 subs. That is amazing. I can't believe that happened, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thanks for watching. Come back next time. Bye.